Welcome into AZ Audibles. I'm Haley Stasiak alongside Eric Sorensen and Jordan Ham. We have some coaching changes this week on the college front. Charlie Ragle is leaving Arizona and headed to Cal.
Big loss for the Arizona Wildcats, but a smart move by Coach Ragle. He gets to be a part of Justin Wilcox's new staff at Cal. Rich Rodriguez, back-to-back losing seasons in Tucson, and the person that hired Rich Rodriguez, Greg Byrne, is now at Alabama, so who knows what's going to happen next year down in the old Pueblo moving forward with that staff. But for Cal, this is a huge get because they're going to come in and they're going to offer these Arizona kids. I talked to Coach Ragle over the weekend. He's still in great contact with a lot of these Valley coaches and expect those offers to start coming. On the flip side, huge loss for U of A because he was sort of the pipeline down to Tucson. He certainly didn't get all the players that he targeted, but he did get quite a few of them on campus, which is saying quite a bit.
And you've seen with the in-state programs going to the high school ranks to find those guys who have those connections at the grassroots level. You look at ASU where Donnie Yanis, Conrad Hamilton, it felt like Charlie was one of the first guys where they did that, and he was really successful over the years bringing in talent, not just in the state, but the Southwest as a whole. So big loss for Arizona, but huge get for Cal.
The Chandler Wolves have scheduled the IMG Academy out of Florida for their 2017 season. Now, for those of you that don't know, IMG is a premier football program that produces some of college football's and pro football's best. And for Chandler to have them on their schedule, it's a big get.
Yeah, especially for it to be a home game. We've seen over the past few years where teams in Arizona will go up to Bishop Gorman, will go to Valor Christian in Denver, and that sort of thing. But to get one of the top programs here in the state is a huge get, as you said. And it's just another opportunity for a top flight program in the state to get some big eyeballs on their potential recruits and just the program as a whole. And really, if they're able to pull out a win or play well, that's a huge confidence booster for this team.
I see this sort of as a double-edged sword. You mentioned Valor Christian. Saguaro went up last year and physically pounded that team. And talking to Jason Mons after the game, he thought that really served as sort of a springboard. Not that Saguaro really needs a springboard. They're one of the most dominant programs on the West Coast. But that sort of enabled his team to say we can compete with anyone, not just locally, but nationally as well. You mentioned Bishop Gorman. I was at that game up in Vegas a couple of years ago against Chandler. Not only did the Wolves lose the game, they also lost Chase Lucas to injury. I know that can happen in any game, but when you're playing better athletes, you're playing on a higher scale, a bigger level, sometimes those injuries can happen, and it definitely set back the Wolves a little bit that year.
During the offseason, there's only so much players can do on the field, but off the field, plenty of guys are putting in work in the weight room. Now take a look at this. Jaron Rucker out of Castile is getting it done.
You know, the most insane thing about this video is this kid's not an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle. He's a sophomore defensive end, and what we're seeing more and more in high school football, these kids are just playing the game year-round. You see them going to specialty coaches. A lot of times at night when I'm at the gym, you'll see these high school football players lifting weights late into the evening, and that's just sort of the way this whole thing is going as we get more competitive teams and players here in the Valley.
And we've seen, I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about Maverick Gomez over at Verado, and he said the real thing that clicked for him coming through his high school career was his work in the weight room. That's what really set him apart and made him conditioned. And now students are taking an hour, maybe an elective, going in early in their school schedule during the off season to do weight training.
It's a great loophole. It really is.
To continue to condition. And yeah, they don't have direct contact with the coaches or anything, but they're getting their work in thanks to the upperclassmen helping them out.
Good stuff, guys. That's what we've got for you this week. We'll see you next week on AZ Audibles.